Thank you. So we have a powerhouse panel lined up for you to be able to dissect and discuss what's going on in the country. And I'd like to hear opening remarks of your personal views on what's going on right now. We can start with you, Susan.
I think the pressure is just increasing. Yeah, and I feel now there is now a room to listen to the generation that is now behind us. And I'm loving how it's now erupting up, and our government is now styling up and listening now to the people that are going to be left doing now the governance in this country.
Yeah. Okay. CJ?
Yeah. Maybe this is a time not to let go. When you feel somebody submitting or we are getting what we want, it is the time to realize why aren't you able to do it for yourselves? Why are you allowing others to do it? We are the ones who understand exactly what you need. And I think our constitution allows you people to play your political role, not just as influencers, but taking proper leadership position to move this country to the next stage.
Thank you. I would rather answer the question of why is what happening rather than what is happening, because what is happening is open to every critical eye. And I think the context of it would be why is what is happening, as Susan has said, the pressure, the nation is at crossroad and there is a lot of tension, both within the government, outside the government. Societies are rattled, leadership is facing critical eye from the counties all the way to the national level. And what is happening currently in Kenya is not new. This is about the 10th generation, what we are calling generation Zoomers. This is about the 10th generation of Kenya as a republic. The first one being the generation that was there in 1895 to when Kenya became a country. Kenya became a country in 1920. And this is the 104th year as a republic. So generations of 10 years have come. Generation Z becoming the 9th or the 10th, if you like. And they are responding to challenges. The first generation of Kenya as a country was called Generation Silent, or what they call useless generation, because they do not, they are not known to have contributed anything to the country. And that's around the same time the British arrived in Kenya, annexed the White Highlands, chose the best of our cattle, took our sons as slaves, married our women, and took them for granted, sired children and killed them. And that generation accepted to go and fight the British war in Malaysia, Singapore, Burma. Today this country is called Myanmar, and such things. So that generation was just there, useless. Went to fight the First World War, which was not our war. Went to fight the second generation, Second World War, 1939, which was not our war. So what is happening is when that generation had their own children, their sons, those are the sons who were taken to go and fight. The Dedan Kimathi, his father, Dedan Kimathi was called Dedan Kimathi wa Shiuri. So the father was Shiuri. Shiuri had fought in 1914 war up to 1919 World War. So when the son grew up in the absence of his father, started questioning, why would my father go and fight people who are fighting for themselves? So he was incorporated in Second World War and he accepted. People don't know, but Dedan Kimathi participated in Second World War. But when they returned, they are the one now that are called Rika Rea Forte, generation of the 40s. That was the generation that liberated the country from the white man's shackles. And therefore, when they took over the country, the generation that followed, and we have one of them here, were born that time. They grew up in a country knowing that liberation and struggle work hard in hard to bring equity, equality, and access to resources all the way. So we had a moment of blooming. When the country bloomed, the white man is gone, the black man has come, education is expanding, healthcare is being provided, water, blah, 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 blah. But now, the children who are born by those children are saying that things are no longer at ease. The way our resources are being chewed by select few and the vomiting they are doing on their shoes, we can no longer take it because we have no drugs in the hospital. We cannot find jobs, yet we have degrees. We have no country here, literally. Somebody has a watch of $10,000 and he's saying, this is the list of the assets that I own. So Gen Z are asking, where is our place?
I think right now politicians, for the very first time, are very scared. And us as Gen Zs, we are not scared either. We will do dialogue, but if it involves insults here and there, you have to take them. I think the president came to the X space and his communication specialist was saying, you know, when you're talking to the president, be a little bit, you know, respectful. He's here to listen. But we're like, no, we will talk to you the best way we know how to talk to you, because you have to listen. We will not come here, pretend, you know, make our English attractive, you know, because you're the president. No, you're just like us. It's just that our money has put you where you are right now, so you have to serve us. Yeah, so I think right now we are putting politicians in their right spaces. Like right now, I would dare the president to go outside this country. I dare him. I dare him.
You're going for the seat.
I dare him.
You are holding the president hostage in his own country.
Yes. How can you be flying after every 2 minutes? Are you
Yeah,
a
he's
flight
very scared.
attendant?
Yeah,
Is
he's
the
very
president a
scared
flight
to go.
attendant? Is he a pilot? So why is he flying after every 2 minutes?
You
need
guys
to
have called him air hostess.
Yeah, unless he's
something
you
else.
know, he's passionate about being a flight attendant or a pilot. He should maybe switch careers and become a pilot if he wants to fly out every 2 minutes. So he needs to sit in State House and work for the people.
Yeah.
So as you move forward, you'll meet a lot of challenges. You'll find one of you have a naughty case. You'll be told you are a rapist, and for sure you have never raped. You'll be told you did what, and you've never done it. Yeah. And that game goes on and on. I remember one time, and not far off, I made a comment. I said, you know, I don't accept anything William Ruto says. Because I know the attitude and the intent is not to provide leadership. The attitude and intent is something else. But I agree with one thing he says, and I was telling some big boys somewhere, that this country does not belong to two families. It belongs to Kenyans. Yeah. And the following day, I was in court. I stole a plot in 92. Somebody's company. This is a property I had bought from somebody. And instead of buying him doing the transfer, I bought the company. So what did they do? They went to Sharia House then, before it was digitalized, and removed all the transfers into my name of the company and put there the documents, when photocopies actually, because all the originals, I had them, when the previous owner owned that property. And they went to police and said, you know, 20-something, 28 or 27 years ago, I lost my company, and I lost my title, I lost all certificates. And I'm in the office, 27 police officers came to take me to court. So I went to court. Of course, you deny. You say, no, I didn't do that. But remember, 28 years ago, for you to find proof, and they have changed, the CR12 shows you are not a director. It's a very complicated matter, and that is politics. So I had to go back, wrote to Barclays Bank before it became ABSA. I know I had paid 10 million from there. I wrote to National Bank. I knew I had paid the balance of 10 million from there. And it took them about 4 months to trace the records. So fortunately, I bumped into the agreement we had signed. By then, I've already taken a plea. So I had to go to the Supreme Court and say, you know, these are the papers. Why was I paying him 20 million if I wasn't buying? So out of that, the court said, no, 28 years. You have lost your title and you've lost your company and you don't remember. You remember 28 years later. That's how I was let off the hook. So you'll expect a lot of things will happen to you. And the day you get scared, that's the time they win.
Please repeat that again, sir.
That's the time they'll win.
I love that.
So if the spirit is for the good of the country, good things never die. You'll carry on.
There are a lot of people who've been abducted. Let's go there first before we go back to 92. There are a lot of people who've been abducted. There are a lot of people who've been threatened, all right? So that the momentum can slow down. Let's talk about that.
This government is very barbaric because there are procedures that should be followed when someone is being arrested. I want to understand what police officers are arresting people at 3 a.m. wearing masks. They do not identify themselves. The president was asked, please give an explanation as to why people are being arrested at 3 a.m. He's there like, oh, it happened. You pretend, you sent these people at 3 a.m. to go and abduct people. You're here on live TV pretending that you're surprised. But you knew, he knows. So I feel like the whole government should stop being in denial. This is happening. We do not have a leader. And they should stop targeting influencers especially. And what I love about the Gen Zs is we are not shaken. If someone goes missing, if you do not hear from someone for 3-4 hours, we go vocal. Yeah. So when we lose our fear, they lose their power.
I want to talk about Ruto the liar. There's a story from back in CJ's time of him lying to you as a first boss about T-shirts, all right? Lying to the public just before the elections about Uhuru's government and lying on television about deaths. You are in the government. What's your opinion on that?
In politics, perception is reality. But in literature, perception is not reality. There is reality in literature and there is perception. Perception is not true, is unreal. But in politics, what people think about Cyrus becomes a reality of what people think. What people think about the president, as you have just asked, they think that he lies. The public thinks he's a liar. Gen Zs cannot be convinced otherwise. So when it comes to the president defending himself against the perception that he's a liar, the only way to defeat a perception in politics is to act true, not to tell the truth, to act true, act against it. Denounce it by action. So I think the president is taking good lessons from you guys. The Generation Z are raising valid points. They are not fighting in blindness. They are saying, we want medicine in hospital, number one. Number two, we want free, fair, accessible education for all. We want professional doctors and nurses employed. They are saying, we want young people given jobs. And how are these jobs coming? One, fire the incompetent. The people who are serving in government who have faked papers, they should leave for the people who have papers.
And Gachagua said it in a press conference, I remember, suggesting it, but couldn't name people because some of them were behind him.
First of all, brother, in a serious show where intellectuals are sitting, Gachagua should not be mentioned. He does not deserve a mention in such a table because he is the beginning of the problem. When younger people of his age were fighting Moi out of power, Gachagua was the errand boy for Moi to go and do things that we know already. It is in history. If Generation Z are serious about transforming Kenya, they should not even mention Gachagua in their turn. Right?
Okay, got it.
Very good.
Thank you. Susan, what's your thoughts?
Okay, for me, what I can say is when we voted in Ruto, we voted in Ruto because he promised us so many things.
You voted for him?
And I'll just say it clearly, I did because he was very sure of what he was putting on the table for us and even for the youth. That he's going to reduce the unemployment and a lot of things that the mama bongas and all that. We were told they will be having the pesa mfukoni, and a shock on us. It's the government that he brought in. We could even feel on our fingertips, as in we are being, they are stealing. I was telling some guys there, like, do you know this government of Ruto, wanaiba to a point we can even feel it on our fingertips, and even we don't have. And
Primitive
the reason why we are complaining is we don't have hiyo pesa mfukoni. The regime of Kibaki, you could not see Mama Boga just going out there, because at least they had some money in their pocket. And even the youth, you could not see such things. But what I can respond is he has become muongo. He's a liar. And that is what we have seen, and that's why we are coming out. And he has realized, and I can see him doing the right thing. Now he has fired the entire cabinet. And we are not going to be sorry to tell him that the Generation Z and the millennial are ready to take their positions, and he's going to be very proud. And he might not know, maybe we can even save him to go to the next term. I don't know, because the generation that is here is you say it, you do it, you know, and you show it.
Ruto lied to you many years ago, and you discovered that he robbed you of nearly 1 million shillings. And
1 million of them.
Yes, of them.
Yeah.
And him and his friend came to you for mentorship position. He said, Sir CJ, please mentor Ruto for politics in the future. And I remember you said in a past interview you were very reluctant, but you agreed. And you mentored him, you're the first boss, you showed him the ins and outs of politics, and then he dumped you, went to maybe someone else, went to Raila, dumped him, went to Uhuru, dumped him. But the thing is, it started from you. So, do you think we should blame you? Are you proud of the decision that you made that day? And is Ruto a liar?
Those are tough questions, because one, we are talking about the President of the Republic of Kenya. All I could do is to tell Kenyans I know his attitude. Remember, thoughts are things. The way you think is what you do. And my clear statement that I don't see William pushing this country to the next level. Instead, it will be too retrogressive. I said it, not because of anything personal. But at that time, everyone said, maybe I'm feeling jealousy that he worked under me and now he's going to be president. And you people came up with a slogan, So I watched, because really, I tried to respond and said, you can admire Nelson Mandela because you want a legacy. Why would I admire or feel jealous about something that I know very well there will be no legacy? But there was no listening. The cheapest thing, as you grow up, as you interact, is just be truthful. It is very cheap, because nobody will reprimand you tomorrow. But if you think you're the most intelligent and you can always come up with crafty stories and get where you want to go, it will catch up with you. William has reached where he has reached by the sword. And so that's why he's coming down by the sword. It started with me. He turned against President Moi, who he used very effectively. He used Raila, turned against Raila very effectively. He used Uhuru because of the community Uhuru comes from to get into that slot where it is easier now to climb to the presidency. And he just turned against Uhuru. So, to him, he had arrived. Little did he know that when you don't live truthfully, it will catch up with you. And my advice to you, you say your CV is ready. This is just another Titanic. It's an iceberg waiting in the deep oceans. It will crash. Because unless there is total mental shift, unless there is deep soul searching, and you repent by doing what is correct, because all that has happened is intentional. And if you have not convinced yourself you want to do the right thing for a country, and that you want to use a country to certain ends, you'll still go back to the same mud. And I don't know how to gauge complete repentance and say my attitude and intentions of taking power must change. Now it has to be to develop this country.
I think, first of all, the right definition for Ruto is tumbo lisilo shiba. He never gets full.
Yeah.
So, like I said, he's still in denial, and he thinks akitulambisha sukari hivi, will be like, oh yes, thank you for listening to us. But it's just the beginning. We know him. He's a butcher from Sugoi. We know him very well. And one thing we really cannot forgive our parents is trusting someone who was at the International Criminal Court. That was the first red flag we had. And maybe our parents love the red color, so they ignored it. But that was a very big red flag. Like someone who has a criminal case and then they come and they manipulate you into thinking that they have changed. I don't think such a person can change. And let him not think that these corrections that he's making, we are going to slow down. It is his responsibility. He's not doing us a favor. It is his responsibility.
Let me put it this way: in the view of Gen Zs, he has conceded one of your goals, because you guys went to the streets together with us millennials and said, we do not want anything in that cabinet. Dissolve it. Yeah. Don't reshuffle. Yeah. Because there was a rumors in the beginning that he was going to reshuffle. But he didn't reshuffle. Yeah. He dissolved. Yeah. So in fair terms, you scored against him. Number two, Gen Zs then went ahead to say, our children have been kidnapped, killed, and others are missing. IG. Fire the IG. The guy is gone. Yeah. So 2-0. The game is now at 2-0, isn't it? So I think, in fairness, because
I think it's 2-1, and it started at 1-0. 1-0.
By calling you criminals?
No, yeah, but by him killing people on the streets.
Yeah, but no, you know, you didn't demand him. It is you. He didn't demand to kill you. You are the one who demanded that he let those who killed you go. So you are the one who has won, not him, because he would not have. I mean, the policemen who killed these young people were doing that in the name of the Republic, in the name of him, as the president, to defend him. So the fact that they are gone, who has lost? Is him and them, not you people. So you have won in this matter. And I'm saying, as a Gen Z, I think if I was to look at things objectively, Gen Zs have scored 2 in the net, he has scored 0. Okay. So the third thing they're asking, which they want him to do, is in the list of things that are endless. And what they're saying is simple. The people who have been fired as CSs, go after their wealth. Isn't it? So now we are waiting for that one to see whether he can concede. Because if Murkomen is fired and Moses Kuri is fired, they were fired because of mischiefs that have brought us here. Eating government money, showing opulence. We would want actually that watch for Murkomen, 900,000 brought, auctioned in a public market. That money brought to a certain school where the people are suffering, and we should see that money. The dismissal of cabinet is a good step, but a good idea must always give way to a better one. Okay? So the cabinet that comes in must win the confidence of Gen Zs. Yes. It must look like, as she's saying, that umesikia na kweli umesikia hujaleta wakora. Then after that, Gen Zs must also go for members of parliament. If we have thugs in this country, they are in parliament. If we have, sorry this word, but if we have idiots, they are there. Anything that comes, even if it is killing people, they pass it. All they need to do is to be bribed. You go for it, and this is where Gen Z should be ready. Kiti ya MP, and I like what CJ keeps telling me here. Kiti ya MP haifai kupewa baby boomers. Kiti ya MP haifai kupewa Generation X. These are for millennials and Gen Zs. Tusikie kuna mbuga wa Kabete, mbuga wa Kiambaa, kuna, where do you come from? Constituency. Mukurweini. Let's say, but city, in the city, where do you live? Which constituency?
Langata.
Langata. You become a MP for Langata.
Yeah.
Go there, regardless of where you are born.
Yeah.
Speak about the laws, speak about the policies, and speak about the future. So for Gen Zs, I ask them to continue being objective, to continue maintaining the price, their eyes at the price. What do you want, guys? Don't be compromised, okay? Do not accept to take something less. But also, when your enemy does something good, be sure to appreciate it, okay? Like, if Ruto is going to do few things that you guys want, appreciate it until the right time when the constitutionally, we can remove him from power through the ballot.
That's my next question.
Yes.
Hashtag Ruto must go.
Yes.
Your opinion.
As a lawyer and as a political analyst, shortly, I'll say this. Ruto must go is very nice, okay? But the question should be, if he goes, who takes over?
Gachagua.
Is that what you want? To be honest, is that what Gen Zs want? Very good, definitely. I haven't met anybody who want, including myself.
Yeah.
So if Ruto must go leaves you with Gachagua must come, is that what you want? No, nobody in this country, by the way, including the dead. If you go to Langata Cemetery in the middle of the night and you say Gachagua president, what watamuka? All those people lying there dead will rise up and say, no, let's go down. So I don't think that's what we want. So legally, we must also say, if Ruto must go, what are the options? If Ruto going leaves Gachagua and that's not what we want, then let's be tactical. Then you say both must
go.
Okay? If both goes through popular uprising, what happens to the country? Who takes over?
Speaker.
No. Popular uprising, Speaker does not take over. Speaker takes over when there has been an impeachment.
Okay.
That's a legal process.
Yeah.
What takes over?
The
military. Okay? To stabilize. So do we want the military to take over power in this country? That's not what we want.
Crazy.
Legally, that's not what we want.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
So if we do not want the military to take over and Gachagua to take over, what options have we been left with?
Him stay.
Let us get him out
2027
through the ballot. But before he goes out, can we use him to expedite far-reaching reforms? Yes. You can work with your enemy to avoid, to achieve some things. After amemaliza, unaanguka?
Anguka nayo. Susan, Ruto must go. You voted for Ruto.
Yeah,
Ruto must go.
I voted for Ruto, but after sitting down and just analyzing on what the lawyer has just told us is who takes him? Is it Gachagua? Do we want that? No, we don't want that. Who else is going to take is the military. The military that was just massacring our children. As in, they even have no mercy, you know. And the only thing I know is everybody can change, just like our Mheshimiwa Jirongo is saying, that everybody can change. And I'm sure that we have pushed Ruto to the corner as the Gen Zs, and we are not going to stop. We are still going to push. The only thing is on the dissolving of the cabinet is what I feel is like he has just applied some oil on us to calm things down.
Massage.
Yeah, he has just massaged us. But I have not seen this CS being angry or something, so I don't know what deal was there. Yeah. And if I can analyze it a little bit, is you know what monkey see, monkey do. So right now we are asking, now we want our money back, right? That was stolen by the CS. And if we want it back, so they will like go to Ruto, you know, we were doing this business and all that. So there must be a deal that has happened, and he's playing it low, because he also knows that as much as we have put him on a corner, we don't have an option. We have to work with him. You get? We have to work with him. So what I'll just urge the Gen Zs and the millennial is, let's try and work together, but let's not close our eyes. Whatever he does, let's still push. If we don't see it, if he brings somebody like Matiang'i, you know, Matiang'i changed a lot. We saw so many changes. Like in schools, aungeona basi that is not yellow and has a black line there, you know. Such changes are the ones we want to see, the cabinet that is going to be coming on board.
On Ruto must go. In my view, and I've said it, it is possible somebody to change, irrespective of age. And actually I was talking to William when I was talking to you about that. That's the one I was talking to. That your intent to take leadership of the Republic of Kenya must change. When you find an entire cabinet is corrupt, there is something wrong at the top. This is really what I'm trying to say. And I'm saying we do not want a constitutional crisis out of you leaving power in between. We really want him to finish his term. And there's a possibility of a re-election. If there's complete metamorphosis, if there is complete paradigm shift on the intentions of leadership, what William needs to deal with is, why did I want to be the President of the Republic of Kenya? Did I want to be the President of the Republic of Kenya so that I'm rich like the Kenyatta family? So that I'm rich like the Moi family? If that was the intention, drop it today. You can think properly. These children have no jobs. You are handed over at your physical survey report showing all the minerals this country has. You are telling us you're looking for investors. These young men and women are the investors we require. The 50 billion you threw away on a useless thing called Hustler Fund would have set up, if you're gold miners, there's a gold mining machine for $50,000, plus the other equipment for mining and paying professionals to plan the mine for you. You would have started 4,000 young men in serious business, expanding your tax base. So just think seriously. This is really what we are saying. Be honest with yourself, that I want to be remembered for having done something for this country. Unless that happens, we are not going anywhere. And therefore, for him to go would create a crisis. Let us give him an opportunity, but thoroughly checked. Every move, everything he does, I hope you have the staying power to follow it up to the end.
When they say Ruto must go, this is my advice to them, and also millennials and the entire country. Ruto must go is a good clarion call for change, okay? And they must not drop it. Hashtag Ruto must go must continue. But as a person who is the president now, he can go. These inches in here to this water. But if he goes, what is there? It is important for us now to decide and say, if he goes today, these are the options. And legally, I have told you, if you maintain pressure today, my brothers and my sister, and then you occupy a state house, the only thing Ruto will do, he will call the CDF, ask for the chopper, then he will jump, and then he can go out of the country. Once he goes out of the country, there will be chaos, because you will go for the deputy, you will go for the CJ, Chief Justice, you will go for the ministers, you will go for all these offices. Then what happens? Before you know, our country falls into disorder. We become a country of war. Then people start saying, hapana, Wakikuyu ndio walileta hii shida, hapana, Wakalenjin ndio walileta hii shida, hapana, Waluhya ndio walileta hii shida. Then we will start fighting amongst ourselves. So the first option of saying Ruto must go has three options. One is that one for chaos. When chaos now comes in, this is when you see now the tanks leaving the barracks. Then they'll come and occupy power. It has happened in Egypt. It has happened in Libya. It has happened in countries that we can tell. Even in the latter day here, what happened with the military is that the military in Egypt, Kenyan Egyptians started saying Mohammed Morsi must go. No, was he called Mohammed Morsi? No, the other one who was there, Mubarak. Hosni Mubarak must go. Hosni Mubarak must go. Simu zikatolewa. Everybody came with a phone. Hosni must go. Then Hosni in State House saw his nephews in the streets saying Hosni must go. And he's your nephew, children of your sister and your brother, as it was happening here. When people occupied parliament in Kenya, many MPs saw their children in the streets.
I saw my daughter at parliament.
That is it. He saw his daughter.
Really?
Saying occupy parliament. Yes. Three of the MPs. This thing is serious, Gen Z. Let me tell you, my brother. 2 MPs told me, alifungua simu, akaona WhatsApp. Mtoto yake ako University of Nairobi pursuing law. Tuko na yeye tunamaliza Kenya School of Law. Akaona msichana wake amemtumia. Anamwambia, "Hey dad, leo nakuja kwa ofisi yako." I think he has never taken the daughter to the office, to the parliament to see where the guy works. Leo nakukujia kwa ofisi na tutaonana huko ndani. The guy knew the thing was not a joke. It was a serious thing. So when when Mubarak saw the daughters in the street, he realized that it is no longer a joke. What happened? They occupied Cairo, removed the Hosni Mubarak government. Then there was chaos. What happened? The military came in from the barracks. Then they occupied power. What happened? Wananchi wakasema, no, we don't want the military. Same as we would say here. We don't want the military. Military must go. Si tumesema Ruto must go, ameenda. Military must go. Military must go. Military. So military went back to the barracks. And then the head of the military resigned and said, there will be elections in 90 days and I will contest. Akawacha uniform na bunduki. He came into the elections and won. He is the president today. He is called Fatal El-Sisi. He is the president today, but he was the head of the military in Egypt. It is possible even here. We don't want our politics to be militarized. So Gen Zs, wakisema Ruto must go, let us also retreat. Okay? Because we have choices. Either military takes over, or there is chaos, or Gachagua takes over. Because if you impeach both, this is the problem now, because there is a route. If you can impeach Gachagua under Article 146 and Ruto, it is possible, we impeach them. So who will impeach them is the parliament, isn't it? And I believe parliament can impeach them because of the pressure of Gen Zs. So if they impeach him, what happens? The law says the speaker takes over for 60 days and prepares an election. Okay? Now, if speaker takes over and prepare election for 60 days, who presides the election?
IBC.
Do we have an IBC?
No.
This is what we must tell Gen Zs. We are together, but we must also be wiser as younger and as elder brothers.
Yeah.
Mimi na Susan, we are millennials. We must tell our Gen Z brothers and sisters, the war is okay, but you don't fight like a blind man, okay? Because otherwise you will be taken down.
Yeah.
So because we don't have IBC, and we do not want Gachagua, and we do not want the military, what option have we been left with? Let us push for reforms through the only alternative we have, who is William Ruto.
Yeah.
Tumpatie pressure, hata asilale, hata namba ya simu yake ikipatikana ma message, wewe bwana hujafanya hii, hujafanya. Tumpatie pressure all the way, and he's ceding ground. Let's also be fair to him. He is ceding ground, and he will continue ceding more ground for the sake of Gen Zs. Then ikifika ni uchaguzi tufanye tuone scale huyu jamani kama
improve. Give him.
Abana. For me, I will not say that. For me, I will say tuangalie ratili tuone kama hajamaliza hii kitu aguka naye tuweke sasa wale watu wanafaa kupata viti na watu ni wengi. So this is what I'm saying, but between our
watu ni wengi
watu wale wanaweza kazi ni wengi. My brother, there are many. Oh yes, the president of France took power at 39, Emmanuel Macron. The president of America 44th took power at 42, Barack Hussein Obama. The president of Madagascar today.
Do you think you can have a useful president? Do you think you can have a useful president next time?
I'm giving you examples. The president of Madagascar took power at 32. Rajurina,
was a DJ.
He was a DJ doing
But then you must also add, when he took over power, it became impossible for him to run the country.
It is true. He didn't.
What did he do? He had to go back and bring the older people who understood the system to try and help him.
That is it.
You are in the right place at the right time. You are able to start learning. You are able to start knowing what is wrong and what is right in a government. And therefore you are forming up your mind.
Yes.
When we take over, we will never do a stupid thing like this one.
This is what I say, that we must know what we are fighting.
So, and also, in any war, There's no war that ends with a gun. Always there's dialogue. There'll be peace missions. There'll be people talking. So the only thing you can do is continue talking.
Continue talking
and eyes on the prize.
And demanding eyes on the prize.
Where do we move from here? And I want to start with you, CJ. You had a friend who has been a pivotal man, even now, that he is not even alive. The late Jacob Juma. He was assassinated after even making a tweet, because this revolution has been happening on social media. Jacob was fighting on social media as well, so I think it's just repeating itself. So Jacob did a tweet saying there's a meeting happening about my assassination, and not long after he was assassinated. That was your friend. You were able to know what happened during that time, and you're seeing what is happening now. What is your thoughts? What should we do as a generation to see changes?
One is, I really want to thank the Law Society of Kenya. They have moved in heavily, and they are providing free legal services to the young generation. Secondly, it is the president to make up his mind. Do you want to fight your own children for asking what is right? If there's a special squad, and we are told there are 20 cars commanded by a certain person in the State House who are carrying out this treacherous act, just stop it. This country does not belong to individuals. This country belongs to Kenyans. When you are given an opportunity to serve, please serve. So this one, only one person must take the call. President William Ruto, just stop it. Nobody has come to Sugoi to pick your bananas. They are saying, don't pick our bananas. Don't have a system that is harvesting everything that we have. Just listen and do what is right. This harassment of young men is totally uncalled for. The death we are seeing, the bodies that are being exhumed, and they know it very well. And William remembers a clash between me and him and President Uhuru at the late Soita's house, when we discussed the death of Juma, and at the same time there was an attempt on my own daughter.
Yeah, and you told the story.
Yes, and if you want to know that anatomy of how they used to do it, you go back to Jeff Koenange, you'll get it. My young girl was carrying the brain of the boyfriend in her own hands, crying. And she could think of nobody. The first person she looked for on phone was myself. This is what they have done to us. So I understand exactly the pain parents of those children are going through. And the only person who can ensure it doesn't happen is the President of the Republic of Kenya. Nobody else. The buck stops with him. And it has to stop. That's all I can say.
It's a heinous action. It's a very bad thing happening in Kenya. Our children are dying, and we are calling out on our president. And I have 2 children. I have a son, and I have a daughter. And I remember there's a boy, a guy who was shot, and at the parliament. And I just saw how they just blown. And it came to my thought, and I thought, can you imagine that being your son? And thank you. And I was so emotional. Every time I could see things happening. And then another one that hit me is the 12-year-old boy that was shot 8 times. As in, that really, really made me... I remember I even knelt down and I told God, why? Why would a cop just shoot eight bullets on a child? As in, we are crying out to you as mothers and asking, please stop killing our children. Please stop killing our children. And we know that you also have children. And I remember one day, Mr. Ruto just woke up one day and told Uhuru that dare touch one of my child. The time the pressure was, the political pressure was just up there. And he came to in defense of his children. And that is the same thing we are asking the President Ruto. Please make a call and just stop this killing, because it's still going on. It's still going on, and we know that he can change. Let's see that different person that we thought that maybe those people who were killed in Eldoret, in a church somewhere that were killed, and in short, Mr. President, please stop these killings. And these are our children. This is the generation, and we are feeling very heartbroken when we see these pictures. And actually, I will even say we are sorry if we have wronged you, but please just stop this killing for our children, please, kindly.
Mr. Policeman, you who is killing in the name of protecting the regime of William Ruto. If you are there and you are watching me, Zack, Kinuthia, and you have killed a son or a daughter of a Kenyan, you continue to use your gun and your blindfolding garments to torture our children, your children will perish. And I'm not saying amen. Your children will perish, and you will perish as well, because the gun you have is not to kill. The gun you have is a gun to protect those who kill. But you are using it against your oath to kill people who are asking for their rights. You will kill too. You'll be killed yourself too. One day you shall die. And no wonder why policemen die very miserable lives, those who kill other people. So the last point that I want to put in this is that the constitution that we passed, 2010, proscribe several attempts. One, you cannot abduct a Kenyan under the new law. Number two, you cannot torture. Don't say murder, because even the old constitution said you cannot murder. But torturing and abductions are proscribed crimes in the new constitution, including detention without trial. You can't hold people incommunicado for more than 24 hours. And you cannot arrest people, as she said, at night. You can't break into my house at 3 a.m., wake me up with my children and wife, and then say you are looking for me. One, the way to be arrested, and GenZ napenda sana, I'll give you an advice. Do not yield until somebody identify himself. Yeah. Tell you he is called Zack Kinuthia, he's a policeman attached to police station X. Yes. This is my police number. I have a warrant to arrest you. A warrant signed by who? By the officer commanding him and the prosecutor of the area. Don't follow anybody else unless they are thugs. And if they forcefully take you, scream the whole shit of the world. Scream and refuse to board. Even if it means you going down, breaking everything around you, don't go. And scream. You have a voice. Scream even if it is at night. Don't allow them to take you down, because you cannot arrest people at night. Number two, you cannot arrest people without identifying yourself as a policeman. So GenZ must fight and fight and fight and fight and refuse to go down. But now, if you find yourself abducted, what do? I'll advise GenZ. In the most unlikely situation you find yourself abducted, what do? Cooperate. Okay? And lie. Are you together? Lie. What are they asking you? Who is funding you? Give them the answer. Tell them, whom are they saying is funding you? Already they are saying, people are being funded by Uhuru Kenyatta and Gachagua. That's what they are saying. Yeah, tell them you're being funded by Gachagua and Uhuru.
If they ask you for proof.
Good, they're asking you for proof. Tell them to give you back your phone. You show them M-Pesa. Once they give you your phone, use it as she said. Make a video and say, I am under abduction and I am dying. I don't know where I am. The location will find you there.
Example of Rex. Yeah, you can see the CCTV footage. That police officer was in plain clothes. He was in a denim, a blue denim, and kofia. The whole day alikuwa anaranda town. Even me myself, I gave myself a DCI job. I even found his Facebook. I found his wife and the son, and I posted. The president did a very gaslighting speech. He should fire the person who wrote that speech that time. Because you could see he's a cold-blooded killer. He was reading the speech and deploying KDF, and he has not even consoled the nation. He's the father of the nation. Console people, tell, okay, this is what happened. Okay, we are now going to do this. He came there fearlessly. Walking, kwanza alikuwa na bounce, alikuwa anafanya hivi. With a speech, he was like, tomorrow, KDF, ni ile fanyeni yani, rudini muone. Like, he could not believe GenZs walifika parliament. Of all the demonstrations that have happened in history, hakuna mtu ashaiwasha kiberiti ndani ya parliament. The king was naked. And he was trying to show us vile yeye ni mkali, but we are like, no, we are not relenting. So first of all, he's very unserious with handling the situation, but we cannot stop. Again, the abductions are bringing fear. Yesterday, IPOA posted a statement that if you have witnessed any abductions or any killing, you go and record a statement. But we are like, you want the witnesses, you want to abduct the witnesses now, because now you're not sure, you might go to give a statement and you never come back. Yeah. Like, we need also witnesses to be protected. Like, you want me to give you details of, let's say, a policeman who shot this person, but what guarantee do I have when I go to the police station, I am going to come back to my house? Exactly. So I feel the president should be serious about it, and I don't know, maybe he's used to killing, so it does not shake him, but this time round we are not going to give him rest. Tulisema unaona nywele yake kipara imefika hapa, by the time tunamalizana naye hata kuwa na nywele kwa hiyo kichwa, so he better listen to
he will not believe. He will not believe.
He will not believe it.
Do the president's advisors advise him, or does the president advise his advisors on the advice they should give him? All right? And the people in parliament, the people under him, the many people who are submitting under him that we see eating taxpayers' money and displaying opulence and all that. Do you think killing the virus is starting it from the roots, and the roots are these bad people under him? And is it just that he is a bad person with good people around him, or is it that there are people?
Show me your friends, I'll tell you who you are.
Yeah.
The current so-called advisors the president has, 90% are there to earn money. And none of them has the guts to face William and tell him, this is correct, this is wrong. From the time Ruto became president, I've met him twice. I went to State House and I met with him twice. But the meetings were not very interesting. In one meeting, he asked me, did you come here to quarrel? So it depends. Can you stand your ground and say what you know is correct and what you know is the truth? So we have advisors who are earning money. And also, knowing the nature of William, he has very little time to listen. He makes up his mind, and that's it. And that's why I'm insisting. He has to search himself and totally change. That's what I'm saying.
Deep soul searching.
Deep soul searching and change. We are told, even cabinet meetings, in your ministry I want this and that and that and that. In your ministry I want that. So why do you have a cabinet? So it is the transformation of William Ruto that shall save the 3 years.
And how?
Not advisors.
And he should have an ear to listen. He needs to calm down.
Let me put it this way, my brother, in terms of advisors. Because GenZs ni watu ya kusoma, I would want to refer them to a book called The Prince, written by Niccolo Machiavelli, who was an advisor to the king of Italy. And when the king died, the prince, who was a son, exiled him. Why? You exile the advisor of your father. Why? I'll tell you why. He says in that book called The Prince that the first measure in determining the intelligence of a leader is to study the people around him. That's all. If you carry nothing from this show as Gen Zs, always remember that and start with yourself. Whom do you listen to? Of course, I know that is it. Of course, I know it's not your mother. I know your greatest advisor may not be your mother or your father, but you have my boys na ma GFs, manaita kwa ma BFFs. Wale mko nao ambaye kuna yule mjamaa akikwambia kitu lazima utafanya. Kuna yule mdema akikwambia hiyo kitu hiza acha hiyo kitu. That person, who is that person? So people are fond of saying ni mtu mzuri ni wale wamemzunguka. That's crap.
It's not, that's crap.
Every time you hear something, it's crap. Don't even listen to.
Don't listen to somebody telling you ni mtu mzuri.
And this is what.
Never listen to that.
This is what people are saying. Ati Ruto ni mtu mzuri na wale wamemzunguka. Uhuru ni mtu mzuri na wale wamemzunguka. Moi alikuwa mzuri na wale wamemzunguka. Kenyatta alikuwa mzuri na wale wamemzunguka. Kibaki was. Let me ask you, brother. Did you ever even know who are Kibaki's advisors? Were they in the public? No, I mean, seriously, you guys think you have your everything here. At least for Uhuru, there were a few, but we didn't know all.
I didn't know any.
Yeah, that is it. We didn't know even Nani, advisors to Kenyatta, the senior.
So if you hear this advisor,
yes,
you are creating those that will be blamed
that
for what you are going to do.
You're setting them up. Okay,
You're setting them up.
Yeah. So this is what
So you're creating a
budgeman.
Yeah,
you're right.
For people to box.
They are box in vain because this is it. Who is an advisor? People don't know, but in the government, as a cabinet secretary and as a president, you are entitled to advisors employed by taxpayers' money. But an advisor is
a specialist.
Is a specialist. That's a word.
An economic specialist, a security specialist,
or a education specialist.
Yeah.
Okay. So somebody who comes to you to advise you, for instance, as your economic advisor, must be somebody with impeccable economics credentials, with track record and a CV of a kind. And let me just put it this way. I personally may not like David Ndei, but David Ndei is not an idiot. He is a Harvard, I think, trained. 2, he has worked for organizations that are known like World Bank. He's somebody who has studied economics up to the level of PhD. Now, if he comes to study concepts of economy, he comes from a certain school of thought. That school of thought may not be applicable now. Okay? So if you determine as a president, if you're intelligent and as a president you determine this guy is good, I can't take away his credentials, but it is not what I'm looking for now. You go for the one you're looking for because you are being advised. The person who is being advised is not foolish, or rather should not be foolish. So if you are bringing somebody to advise you, you must be able to listen to him or her.
We're just putting politicians, all right, in managerial seats because I believe a politician and a leader are two different people. We need politicians in parliament and leaders in the cabinet. So personally, for like an example for sports, you can have somebody who has done sports for a very long time, who went for rugby, who's played in FC Leopards, a sports journalist, somebody who has experience.
Eliud Kipchoge, for instance?
In that area, yes.
He has been a international icon. Yeah. He has done the
Give it to
well.
Kipchoge. There's a ministry that we must create. The key problem in the Republic of Kenya is lack of employment. Wealth creation and employment is so critical. Yeah. And it must be somebody who will know how to mix the factors of production to create employment.
An entrepreneur.
And I don't want to hear somebody telling me that I'm creating employment by exporting our young people.
That's not creating employment.
The biggest investment Kenya has done is in education.
Educating its own children.
Those people should be the ones changing this country, not going out there to change the economy of other countries.
It's called brain drain. We are draining our brain.
We are draining our brain.
Yeah.
So that ministry to me is very critical.
Yes. So you suggest it's called Ministry for?
Wealth creation and employment.
Wealth creation and employment. Okay.
Ministry
so that you
of
can
creation.
create, you see, this stupid thing that I must add taxes to pay debts. Create assets that will pay those debts. I gave you an example of creating one asset. when we started.
Yeah, in the
The
minerals.
credit,
No, carbon assets.
Carbon assets, yes.
They are sovereign
It's huge.
asset.
Yeah, those are
and it's
sovereign
huge
assets.
money.
Yeah.
And I told you how much money is at HSBC.
$3 trillion.
$3 trillion
And you just need to
for
plant
that
trees.
particular business.
Just planting.
Kenya is 8, not even just planting, what we have now. Kenya forest cover is 8.8.
Yes.
Add on wetlands and all those things. It's enough money to pay the debt. If you have maintained a national registry, that money will also trickle down to the owners of land. Meaning I'm a farmer, I grew my crops, it sank in this much carbon this year. Tax it, give me the balance, it will pay for my seeds, it will pay for my fertilizer. Secondly, Kenya, other than having done a geophysical survey of its country, KEFIS has details of our soils nationally. What crop can grow where?
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. I talked to Cecil Mbarire's husband, Apa. I told him, Apa, you come from Tesoland. There's a lot of cassava in Tesoland. This is an order of 1 million tons per month to China. Can you put it together?
That is a good deal.
So we are not lacking how to expand the tax
Ideas and
base
wealth creation, yes, agreed.
and create wealth. It is just lack of seriousness and lack of creativity.
I had Jirongo wanajenga affordable housing. Sijui wapi na Ruto. Is it true?
Clarify immediately. So that
I'm not in business with William Ruto. God forbid, I'm not.
But you should also say, I think you should also say, the ones you have done already.
And the
they are there.
affordable housing is not the business of the Kenya government.
It's probably sector later.
Create an enabling environment.
Yes.
We have many developers in this country who will buy land, develop, and will create houses that Kenyans can afford.
One is here.
What you need to do is put money in the pocket of Kenyans.
That is it.
It is not your business as a government to go into construction, to go into housing development. It's not their business.
Right.
Thank you.
So I have no business interest with William Ruto.
Final comments. The fight is still on. We are not stopping, even if you continue to kidnap us. And I feel also the president and the government, they should take this opportunity to understand that we are also living in a digital era. You cannot come here and say that you are given false information about the state of the country, yet you are spending 1 billion for furniture in State House, but you cannot afford TV to watch news and see what's happening in the country, you know. And we also need to be serious with some of these things. 1 billion for furniture. Are you skinning animals and using live leather to make seats, or what is going? Actually, Gen Zs should have access to State House. Just go and check. What are these guys doing inside there? Why is it so protected that we cannot access it? We fund it. We build it, we refurbish, but we cannot access it. Why? I need to go and sit there. Indio kiti walinunua. We should. Yes.
This was a wonderful panel discussion. We've delved into very many topics, went into the history, discussed the present, and discussed the future. My final remarks will be, we've realized that the people we elect, all right, may not help us, but they have the power to hurt us. So 2027, please go and vote for one reason so that we don't get people who can hurt us on those seats. This has been a special episode of the podcast. Thank you very much for joining in. You can share the link on any other platforms and follow each and every one of us. We'll put the names on the description. Thank you very much.